Look at this dragonfly, it's bright red. I'm so used to seeing blue ones or green ones, it's pretty cool. All right, I just came back out to the spot behind the RV camp that I'm at near Yosemite. There was a ton of trout out here yesterday. And of course, I only brought a rooster tail and some flies. The rooster tail I had, I think, was too big because they were hitting it, but I could not set the hook and they weren't really, I mean, I guess they really weren't swallowing it, but they were knocking into it pretty hard. So I brought a smaller spinner, and then I set up my fly rod to have a grasshopper and a nymph dropper on it. So I'm gonna test that out. Ooh, a snake. Well, that was the first snake of the day. I should probably watch where I'm stepping. All right, put my camera on my chest now. I walked through here yesterday with a machete and just hit some of the weeds down. And then there's actually a tree that fell over the trail, but I brought my little handsaw, so I'm gonna cut that down today. Try not to disturb too much. I'm just basically clearing the trail. But man, the bugs were terrible out here yesterday, making the whole experience kind of bad. And it is noon right now, so we'll see how it is. But I'm feeling pretty confident with the two lures I got right now if they're in the same spot. All right, I'm gonna cut this down. I had a machete yesterday. When I was whacking it, it was pretty loud. Jesus. When I was whacking it was pretty loud, so I just stopped doing that. The fish are chilling there and there if they're still there. Is this gonna take longer than I expect, or we'll see? All right, that wasn't too bad. This thing was actually sharper than I was expecting. So I cleared most of it, at least so you don't have to duck down. And I do see the trout chilling over there, so let's check it out. I mean, there's over like 10 of them right here. Top of the water is dirty, but you can see them right there. Swallow it. Let's see. There we go. I figured out how I set the last hook. I pulled down instead of up, like when I'm bass fishing. And also, it keeps me from going into the trees. There's number 2. Damn, that one's in there good. Holy Christ, what happened to his side? All right. Is that one still alive? All right, so that first trout that I caught actually died. After I caught him over here, I walked down here to get my hands wet because it's a little easier to get to the water. Then I put him back in the water. I took the hook out, which was pretty easy. And then I released him, but I could see him at the bottom here. And he died, which kind of bummed me out because I'm just doing catch and release. I'm just not used to it. I'm used to fishing bass, and I know online they were saying these fish, you want to get them in quick and make sure your hands are wet and then release them, which I did, but kind of wasn't expecting them to die that quick. Remember yesterday I was here later in the evening, I couldn't see anything in the water, so this is helping me. Oh, there's a good one. Oh, wow. That might have been the biggest one today. Let's see if we could get him again. Wow, they're getting feisty. The first guy here, they're bumping it. Now they're going for it. Little guy. Oh, came off. All right, I'm almost getting a bite every cast right now. Wonder if I should switch to that little trout rubber lure I have. All right. What's super interesting is that they get to a point where they just start biting everything, and then boom, they just stop. Back to the flat rod. Man. Oh wait, I got one. Holy moly. Nice. I think he unhooked himself. He's alive and well. Look at that guy. All right, free go. All right, got one on the fly, even though I was giving up at the last minute. And it unhooked himself, so that made it easy for me in the net. Look at that. That whole cloud of that stuff is going that way, which is perfect. All right, back to the spinner. I got you. I want to throw the little trout on here because there's some big guys in here. All right, switch to this little trout rubber bait here. The guy that I met up by Bishop, this is what he was using. Man. That was my first time casting over there too. All right, here's the last cast since that one bit. Oh, man, he really wanted that. All right, I'm done fishing here. I caught at least 7 or 8. I'll have to check back in the video. Well, only the one died, and most of them were unhooking themselves in the net, so wasn't that bad. And then after that first one, I just picked them up, basically just stuck them back in the water. So this is a good spot right behind the 1000 trail near Yosemite. All right, there's a bunch of frogs here. Oh, there's one. Yo, that was huge. All right, every time I get up to the spot, there's a couple frogs that jump. Oops. There's one.